Picture this. Water is just steadily dripping from a leaking roof into this tiny, cramped room in a slum. The air is thick, it's literally choking with smoke, while this desperately exhausted mother tries to cook a meager meal over a tiny little stove. Suddenly, the door bursts open. Her teenage son Sanjay storms in, and his face is just twisted in resentment. He doesn't offer to help. Instead, he screams at her. He calls her stupid, he calls her weak, he tells her it's absolutely her fault his father abandoned them, and cruelly spits out that it would have been better if she had left instead of him. Before his mom can even process the heartbreak of those words, he just slams the door and disappears into the streets. It's a gut-wrenching scene, isn't it? But believe it or not, this tragic moment is actually the beginning of one of the most profound transformations you will ever hear about. In today's Explainer, we are looking at the raw mechanics of human consistency based on our source material. We're going to completely analyze this remarkable journey from a lost, angry boy to a highly responsible, successful man, and we're going to uncover the exact mindset shift required to build unbreakable, long-term consistency.
Okay, let's dive into this because before we judge Sanjay too harshly, I really want you to think about your own life for a second. Have you ever experienced this? You wake up on a Monday completely fired up. You've got a new goal, a new routine, and you literally tell yourself, this is it, I am changing my life. You absolutely crush it on day one. You do pretty well on day two, but by Thursday, poof, the motivation just vanishes into thin air, and you are right back to your old habits. Why is it that we can so easily imagine the people we want to be, but completely fail to consistently act like them? Well, Sanjay's story is the ultimate case study in solving this exact problem. His emotional journey gives us a literal blueprint for how to forcefully rewrite your brain for daily, unrelenting motivation.
Part 1. The Lost Boy's Tragedy. To really understand his transformation, we have to look at his severely flawed foundation. Living in that slum with a single exhausted mother, Sanjay was totally blind to her sacrifices. Instead of helping out, he blamed her for his poverty and started hanging out with toxic friends just to avoid any real responsibility. But this toxic victimhood mindset was abruptly shattered by a devastating tragedy. Sanjay's mother, who'd actually been quietly hiding a severe illness just so she could keep working, collapsed. She was rushed to the hospital, and on her deathbed, knowing she wasn't going to make it, she pulled Sanjay close and gave him one final, desperate instruction. She told him he had to take care of his little sister, and he could not rely on anyone else to do it. Shortly after, she passed away. In that hospital room, the resentful boy died too. The sheer, crushing weight of reality hit him. He couldn't blame his circumstances anymore. He couldn't avoid responsibility. He was forced into extreme ownership because, overnight, he had to evolve into the sole provider. Part 2. Eliminating every plan B. The absolute catalyst for this massive psychological shift happened just a few days later, staring at completely empty cupboards and a starving little sister. And this brilliantly illustrates a concept often called burning the boats. It means entirely eliminating your safety net, your option B, so that you have absolutely no choice but to succeed at option A just to survive. See, when a neighbor found out about their situation, she actually offered to take his little sister in and care for her. But Sanjay flat out refused. He wouldn't give up his responsibility. Instead, he basically begged the woman to just help him find a job. She connected him with a local restaurant owner, and Sanjay gladly accepted the most demeaning, lowest-paying job they had, sweeping floors and washing dirty dishes. There was absolutely no glory in it, but it provided enough money to survive, and, crucially, the restaurant gave them daily meals. He eliminated his option B and forced himself into consistent, grinding daily action. Part 3. Growth without any resources. Now, while washing dishes secured their immediate survival, Sanjay knew it wasn't going to give his sister a real future. He needed serious growth. So when a lucrative head chef position suddenly opened up through a cooking competition at the restaurant, Sanjay took a massive leap. He walked right up to the owner, flat out lied about knowing how to cook, and begged to enter. And, surprisingly, the owner agreed. Let's see how this builds, because now Sanjay had exactly 1 month to learn a highly complicated culinary skill with zero money, zero ingredients, and no kitchen to practice in. He was essentially trying to become a master chef using a local junk dealer and a cracked smartphone. His resourcefulness here is just staggering. Step 1. He went to a junk dealer and bought discarded beat-up scrapbooks about cooking for literal pennies. Step 2. He stayed late after his sweeping shift, actually hiding in the restaurant just to siphon their free Wi-Fi and watch cooking tutorials. Step 3, and honestly this is the most crucial part, lacking any actual food to practice with, he relied entirely on mental visualization. He would sit in his tiny room and vividly imagine chopping the vegetables, mixing the spices, and timing the heat. He practiced the entire physical routine in his mind, over and over again, every single night. Part 4. Surviving the ultimate failure.
When competition day finally arrived, Sanjay quickly learned a harsh truth. Mental visualization doesn't prevent actual knife slips. In his frantic rush alongside seasoned cooks, he cut his finger. He burned his hand, he finished dead last, and the food he made was absolutely terrible.
So, the crucial point is this. What happens when you give everything you have and you still lose? For most people, this is the exact moment the motivation completely dies and the consistency shatters. They retreat right back to their old habits. After the competition, Sanjay was heartbroken. He quietly wiped his tears, congratulated the winner, and went home a total failure. But the true test of his character wasn't winning that competition. It was what happened the very next morning. Despite his total defeat, his burnt hand, and his completely shattered ego, Sanjay walked right back into that restaurant at his scheduled time, picked up the mop, and started cleaning the floors.
Well, the restaurant owner was observing all of this, and he was absolutely floored. He called Sanjay over and demanded the truth. So Sanjay confessed. He admitted he had lied, that he had no resources, and had learned everything in his head just to try and provide for his sister. But the owner didn't fire him. Instead, he realized something incredible. A boy who could teach himself the foundations of a complex dish in a month, using just scrapbooks and Wi-Fi, and who still showed up to mop floors after a humiliating defeat, that was exactly the kind of person he wanted on his team. He immediately offered Sanjay an assistant role with 5 times his previous pay. Sanjay accepted, continued his relentless learning, and just 6 months later, the owner opened a second restaurant and made Sanjay the head chef.
Part 5. Mindsets for lasting consistency. Sanjay's incredible rise from a resentful boy in a slum to a head chef wasn't just blind luck. It was the direct result of a fundamental rewiring of his psychology based on principles that map perfectly to the highly acclaimed book, 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do.
The source actually outlines 4 critical traits that Sanjay embodied perfectly. 1. Mentally strong people do not feel sorry for themselves. If Sanjay had stayed trapped in self-pity over his father leaving or his mother dying, he would have ruined his sister's life alongside his own. 2. They don't waste time on things they can't control. He couldn't control his poverty, but he could absolutely control his effort. 3. They don't fear change. Sanjay completely overhauled his identity overnight. And 4. They don't fear hard work. He took the absolute lowest status job available because his ego was no longer the priority. I really want you to look at this list and ask yourself, which of these are you violating right now? What safety nets or little bits of self-pity are secretly making you lazy?
Years later, Sanjay's relentless consistency paid off beautifully. He was making excellent money. He enrolled his sister in a prestigious school, and he even hired domestic help to ensure she was always taken care of. Coming home one evening to a comfortable, safe house, the memory of his mother just kind of washed over him. Looking around at what he had built, he finally understood the invisible burden she had carried for all those years. He realized she wasn't the weak, stupid woman he had yelled at in that smoke-filled room. She was actually the strongest person he had ever known. Whispering into the quiet room, he finally said, "You are not weak. I miss you, Ma."
Sanjay became a man of unwavering consistency because life ruthlessly burned his boats, leaving him with literally no choice but to step up. But here's the thing. You don't have to wait for a tragedy to forge that kind of mental strength. You can choose to eliminate your excuses right now. If you are struggling to stay motivated past day 3, it's highly likely because you've left yourself a way out. You have a backup plan that allows you to fail comfortably. So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought to carry with you today. Look closely at the goal you keep giving up on. What is the option B that is secretly destroying your consistency? Identify it, burn it down, and just watch what happens when you truly have no other choice but to succeed.